And during one digression, he staged his own afterlife as an improvised two-character dramatic scene. God says, there is no time. The whole thing is all a racket. There's no time. Clocks have no meaning. Dolly was closer to the truth. They're all bent because the hands move, but nothing else moves. So here's what it is, Mike. You're going to be reborn again in Mount Sinai Hospital in the year you were born to the exact same parents. And you're going to go through the very same life again. Michael Savage, deceased. No, I don't want that. God, why? It was that bad? You want me to make you a bug? Savage, no. But do I have to do that everything again? The meatball on the wall, the whole thing, the fights in grade school, all over again? Love by the sewer plant, the nympho in Alley Pond Park, affirmative action, the radio career? God, why? That wasn't good enough for you? Would you like something else? Savage, no, God, I'll take it. Now, do you understand how hard is it to catch a thing like this unless you have an ear for music? You understand this is art, and you're dealing with a medium that has very little art in it called talk radio. But here's the question for you. What's the question for you? Here's the question for you on the Savage Nation today. What's the question for you? What could be the question for you? What question could I ask of you today? Tell me what question there is for me to ask of you that would be of interest to me. San Francisco, Martin, KNEW, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
I'm Martin, and I'm a chef now, and I was in the Army. I always liked loud noises. I used to shoot with a shotgun when I was 12 years old.
So you like loud noises, but what about when you're a chef?
Well, I'm a chef. My point was, the reason why you want it quiet is you want a certain ambiance to enjoy good food. If it's good, it's good.
I cannot eat around noise. I can't even eat around conversation.
Yeah, but you want it quiet to enjoy. You want a certain level of
well, let's talk about this as human beings. When you eat, you put the fork into food. We're not talking about just taking in calories. We're talking about dining, okay, as opposed to eating. You're eating a sandwich, you can eat it on a subway car, right? But when you're actually trying to taste the food, experience the food, savor the food or the wine, don't you need to kind of have a cerebral reaction as well as just a gustatorial reaction?
What?
That's all. All right, thanks for the call. I already had too many big words. Sorry, cerebral, gustatory. This is the problem. It's like opera. In other words, you go too high and you lose the audience. You go too low and you're Michael Jackson with the glove and the casket. That's all. Last summer, I wrote Psychological Nudity, which were all of my radio stories, One-Armed Frank, etc. I'm going to take requests of which story you would like me to read to you of the Michael Savage radio story list, the playlist. Is it My Silent Brother, The Electric Blue Saddle Stitch Pants, Fat Al's Tuna, Nutty Friend, Crazy Mother, Coney Island Wax Figures, Dead Man's Pants, Tippy the Mad Dog, Woodchuck Bill, Happy and Sad Cufflinks, When Pasta Was Spaghetti? Was it First Autopsy? Was it Talking to a Bum About God? Was it Working on Cruise Lines? Was it Love by the Sewer Plant? Was it From Immigrant Son to Radio Stardom? Or any of the other favorites? Because they're all in Psychological Nudity, and I'd rather read them to you for a little bit before we get back to politics. I'll read one. Here's one. I liked Walter Cronkite and Purgatory of Manhood by Cyanide. So here's what I wrote. Who did I actually like in mainstream news? Let me just run on this for a minute. I did like Walter Cronkite because he had a deep voice and a mustache. He reminded me of an Italian dentist that I knew in the Bronx. You always had to behave yourself when you were around guys with mustaches like that because they could do weird things to you if you didn't. Cronkite was a very authoritative man, and how he presented the world is how I thought the world was. I might be eating steak and French fries and cherry vanilla ice cream on a TV tray, building up my negative cardiac profile while Dad was working. I'd be watching Cronkite. I had no idea what he was talking about. You see, kids don't really know what the news is, nor does the average adult really pay that much attention. I think we give media people too much power by thinking people really listen to their every word. Every time they put out another fib, I became incensed. Oh, look what they said. Look at the phony poll about Obama. But the fact is that they don't have that much direct influence on the average person. I get excited because I can see what they're doing, but do you? Dad would walk in at 6:30 at night, white from a day in the store. He might just have fought his way home through a snowstorm in his big green DeSoto. And here is his number one son getting fat, watching television, eating steak and cherry vanilla ice cream. He's starving and there's no food for him. I don't have to tell you what flashed through his eyes, my mother's, my mother's eyes, and the dog's eyes. He never thought I'd amount to anything. The arguments we would have, my God. You're ruining the kid. Look what you're doing. You're making him soft. You've got to make a kid hard, he used to yell. Look what you're doing to the kid. You're making him a weakling. He'll never amount to anything. He's soft. Look at him. Over there eating that steak and ice cream. He was probably starving at that point. He got home with the slush and galoshes, snow over the top, and his worst nightmare came true. His wife was catering to his son. Then I go on. The guy comes back from the hunt, and what's going on in the cave? The woman he is married to is cooking for the child who has done nothing that day but go to school. And look at girls. So it was soon thereafter that the whole soft life came to an end. No more ice cream, no steak, no TV trays. I was forced to go into his store's basement on Ludlow Street to clean bronzes. That's the beginning of my purgatory and my manhood. You know, this is very good writing. I was too close to it last year to realize how good this is. This is as good as this. You see why I like The Sopranos and Mad Men? I have a flavor. I'm editorializing now. I'm reading my own book like new. It's good writing because it's simple, basic. I grew up reading real writers like Hemingway, who wrote. See, he was a journalist first, and he taught me to write as succinctly as possible. Then, when I was studying to be a scientist, I learned scientific writing to write scientific papers, and the first rule was succinct, as few words as possible to get your ideas across. Anyone can write long sentences and the herefore, theretofore, and that's not the way to write. So I said, that's the beginning of my purgatory, my manhood. It says it like straight out, you know. I was cast down into the cellar where I used cyanide solution to clean bronze statues of their gorgeous patina. The statues were gorgeous. I learned a lot about art because I stared at them all day long. Now you may say, what do you know about art? Well, I know quality from junk, artistry from fakery. The rest is a matter of taste. Now, let's analyze that line together. Look what I just wrote. What do you know about art? I know quality from junk, artistry from fakery. The rest is a matter of taste. That sentence is succinct, and it says it all. Anyway, so I'll go back to the book. So these figures would come in with a brown or black patina, which is the result of oxidation over time. The patina was sublime. But the nouveaux who were buying the figures to turn them into lamps wanted them to glitter like gold. Underneath the patina was the original bronze metal. I'll take that. I'll turn it into a lamp. Mount the thing. Blah, blah, blah. They'd buy it, and a certain number would be left for the weekend that I'd have to clean down in the basement. Down into the dirty, horrible, dank dungeon, filled with huge old wine barrels. A toilet from hell. No mirror on the wall except the shattered shards speckled from the acid that hit it. I'm down there from a young age with a toothbrush, scrubbing away at the patina. I don't really know if the cyanide was that bad. If it was, I'd be dead by now, I think. Perhaps it protected me from something. Hey, Dad, explain to me how I can use cyanide, since I understand from basic chemistry that they use cyanide balls at San Quentin. They put a guy in the chair and strap his head over the bucket, and the pellets drop in. Then the gas comes up, and he's dead in a few seconds. Dad, why would you put me in a basement with cyanide pellets to clean bronzes? Here's the answer now. This is right out of the Bible. I couldn't believe it. It took me 30 years to figure this out. This was a repetition of Abraham and Isaac. You see, Abraham picked up the knife, and God said, slay your son. He didn't even ask, my son? You sure you mean my son? Your son, I want him dead. All right, I'm a good guy, I'll kill my son for you. He grabs the kid, grabs him by the neck, like an Islamofascist, and is about to cut his throat when God says, wait, I was just kidding, I was only testing you. Now, no one ever talked about what that did to Isaac. The father he trusted suddenly grabs him by the neck and wants to cut his throat. You know, all you hear about is Abraham was so loyal and listened to God. But what did it do to Isaac? It drove him nuts. He never trusted anyone after that. His own father wanted to cut his throat because he was listening to someone in the sky. So now I'm in the basement, and he says to me, you're going to clean bronzes because you're going to become a man. I'm going to make you tough. You got to do something, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to use these pellets. Here's a big barrel of them. I get them from a chemical supply store. You drop them in water, and then you dip in your brush and wash the bronze, and the black comes off, and it looks shiny again. The customer wants the shiny statue for a lamp. So I say to him, how do you know it's not going to kill me? Here's what Abraham says to me. I mean, in the modern-day story, he says, because there's a potassium salt of the cyanide and a sodium salt of the cyanide. But here's the kicker. Dad doesn't tell me which one kills and which one dissolves patina, which is exactly why I went into science and medicine and chemistry, to find out whether he was trying to knock me off or not. I'm sorry, this is good writing.